So guys, if you're watching this, you're probably thinking, where are we? This is a completely different set to everything you've seen so far on the channel. And that's because you may have seen them already, but we've got some guests today. So we're going to try something new. We've got some future podcast guests coming up that are like tax advisors, real estate people, career people, because there's some questions that you've asked in the comments that I can't answer. But we bumped into these lovely folk. Actually, how did all this come about? I actually don't know. Me and you met yesterday for the first time yesterday, but you two have been speaking.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have been speaking. Before I table that question, because I realised we've done no scene setting, who are you guys? Where are you based? Just give us your backstory.
So... what do you want, like the personal version or the work version?
Let's do the personal version first, yeah.
So I'm Conor. That's my wife, Jessica. Yeah. We currently live in the UK, but we're going to relocate to Dubai.
And that's how all this came about, because you guys bumped into our channel, which is awesome. The exact reason why we're doing this is sort of like meet people like you. And then Jessica, was it yourself that reached out to us? I'm not sure how. How did you get in contact?
I did with Sarah because you alluded to having like a marketing agency. And mentioned trades, and I was like, like something like has come about this in a weird way. I always think like the universe has its weird way, and I was like, what do you actually do? Can you help us? Because that's our next step on a business level. So I was like, I'm going to reach out.
Amazing.
And then, well, the Formula One happened.
And then the Formula One, which is good fun.
Yeah.
Before we kind of like, I start pulling on threads, and so does Sarah in terms of like questions, just give us a sense as to why you guys are thinking about moving to Dubai. And like where you are in that journey, like what triggered it? Take us back to like the first moment where you were like, you know what, let's get out of the UK.
We had started our business in officially March 2022. 23. And then we were working for ourselves essentially. 6 months came along and we were like, we're moving to Dubai. We hadn't even been to Dubai at that point. And then we watched like a few videos on YouTube, and then we were like, well, we need to go to Dubai now to see if we actually want to do it, because we've decided we're going to move, but we haven't actually been there. So a week later, we're in Dubai having a look to see if it's okay. And then we were like, yeah, we can see it. And we were like, we'll do it next year. Which was last year, which the timings would have been fine with the children. We've got 2 young children that are 3 and 4 now. And then the position of our business that year, we just couldn't do it. It just wasn't.
It was too much of a baby.
Yeah, it was too much of a baby. Yeah, it needed a bit more time. So that's why it's this year now. And it's worked out well with our children's ages, but we work for ourselves and we've got the freedom to work wherever, basically, haven't we?
If you've got an internet connection.
Got an internet connection. Yeah. Why Dubai? Like, what was that thing where you went, we're moving? Before you've even been here?
So we've got 2 different drawers to Dubai.
Yeah.
Unpack those.
I love the glitz and the glam. And, you know, like everything's for sale. I say to people, if you've got a few quid, Dubai's the place to go and spend it, because you'll get the service in the restaurants, you'll get the respect from other people. If you want to go and be flashy, you can. If you want to fly completely under the radar, there's so many other people being flashy that you will fly under the radar. That was my initial draw. My draws are different now. But Jessica's initial draw was...
Yeah, mine's like completely opposite. Like we're so polar opposite in that. Like I'm under the radar. Mine was like the safety, the beaches for the children and the weekends, and having that way of life and being able to walk out in the evening. Like we live in Southeast London and it's not that safe. Like I don't feel comfortable walking out even in the day sometimes when there's like groups of children, like teenagers and lads and stuff like that. And I was like, I want out of that, and I don't want my children to grow up and think that's a normal way of life either. I want them to have the freedom and to go and play like they should be able to, which you can in the communities here. Like they're all secure, like you see the kids playing, and that's how it was 30 years ago, even 20 years ago at home. So that was the biggest thing for me, like the safety and the freedom for the children and the way of life, the weekends like that.
Yeah.
Just not being stuck in a soft play.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to you, Sarah. Question, because we've been here for 8-9 months now. You had a drive of like coming here around like safety as well, same as Jessica. We had an idea of like what safety was like. If you were sat down with Jessica saying, actually, this is what you thought it was like, and here's what it's actually like, is there a difference? Like, talk to me about safety.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a difference. I think I said it to you yesterday, didn't I? That like the fact that the boys can just like go down even just in our building to the grass area and play football and play with other kids, like their friends from school, like they just didn't have that in the UK. Like we lived far away, you'd have to like arrange a play date to do that and things like that. Like it's just, they've got so much more freedom now. And also like confidence, I mentioned that yesterday, that like Reg's confidence has like just massively grown just because he's getting a bit more freedom and socializing with other children from different backgrounds, and also like adults as well. That adults here will openly speak to children because it's not that like, kids are just more sort of included here. And like when you go out for dinner in a restaurant, like they're like always like, oh, what's your name?
Yeah, they make a big fuss. When we first come, we were like, oh, like this is different. And then when I've got a friend who lives here, she's lived here for like 5 years-ish. And she was like, no, that's normal. They worship kids here. Like kids are king. And then once you understand that, it's good.
Yeah.
Like it's good for the kids.
Yeah, they seem to have got the right, I guess, way of thinking of it. If you're a family, look after the kids and then everything else.
That's it. Yeah.
That's literally what somebody said in a restaurant. Penelope was much younger at the time. Well, it was 2 years ago. So she would have been 18 months-ish, probably about that. So littler. And she was getting the hump sitting in a restaurant as you do at that age. And the man could see that. We'd just ordered some drinks and one of the waiters had just walked her up and down like outside and was just taking her for a walk. You could obviously see. And at first I was like, ugh. But actually I was like, no, that's normal. Like that's okay. But the way we are conditioned in the UK to think that it's odd or strange behaviour for someone to say hello to your children, like that's abnormal, I think, at home as opposed to it being not normal here.
Yeah, I think that's super like fair. Like we've been conditioned into a way that kind of doesn't feel that like empathetic or enjoyable,
or like it's
down
safe
to like a
for
safety.
adults to children to talk to children. You always think like,
Let's be honest. Let's put it on the table. Kids are an inconvenience home. You know, schools are like. We'll probably get into this a bit more later, but schools at home are glorified childcare service, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, ship them off to school as young as you can, and then pick them up at 3 o'clock every day.
I definitely want to get into schools a little bit to know what you guys are doing about that. Talk to me about, so let's go back to the timeline. You guys are like, let's go to Dubai. We want to move, want to get out of the UK. Safety is a key driver. Like I guess everything that you want Dubai to be, it can be the shiny glitz glam, or it can be completely under the radar. You can choose the Dubai that you want. When you decided to come here, what are the first things that you were like, okay, this is what we expected, or the stuff that you're like, whoa, this is not at all what we expected? What were the kind of like the jarring moments for you guys when you came here for the very first time?
It was far hotter than I'd ever been.
When did you come?
We came in October.
But they said it at that time, it was abnormally hot for that time of year. Like it was, they were like, we don't know what's going on. Like nothing was still open at that point because it was so hot that year. They were like, something's not right. Like, so although it's not height of summer, it was abnormally hot for October, everyone had said. I love the heat, doesn't bother me. I'll lay out and just bake, and he's
me not so much.
Yeah, so
but
I'm
I've
like,
got better with it, you know.
Good.
I've got better with it, but it was 43 degrees.
Yeah, and
even at night it was dropping to like 36 maybe.
Yeah, you're sitting on the balcony and you're still dripping.
Yeah, like, I'm not moving and I'm sweating and I'm like, all right, this is weird. This is going to take a bit of getting used to, but yeah, that was one of the things that like sort of shocked me.
But it sounds like you broke the back of it as well. You came out when it was like the peakiest of peak heat.
Because it was slightly cheaper.
Yeah.
If we'd booked it another 3 weeks forward, we would have been into November.
Yeah.
And when we came, we really noticed that people said, I'll give it 2 weeks. It's cooling. It'll be cooling down. You know, we're looking forward to it. Life will start again in 2 weeks. Everything will open again in 2 weeks, you know?
By the way, it is literally like that.
Yeah.
You know, I remember, I think we caught it in one of our videos actually. I can't remember who said it, whether it was the comments or one of the neighbours, but it looked like the windows were crying. The amount of like condensation that was going on within about 2 weeks, basically the temperature completely just swaps around and it becomes like really beautiful weather.
Everyone starts playing golf again at normal times of
But
day.
to your point, the prices of travel, it is like a light switch.
Yeah.
It goes from like really affordable to come here during what is like 40, 43, 45 degrees where no one really wants to be here in terms of like holidaying. They don't like, you're not going to holiday in that weather. It's too much. Hotels are super cheap. So it's a great time to come and sort of explore Dubai fairly inexpensively compared to what it can be when it's in like peak season, but you just got to tackle the heat. How about you, Jessica? What's the stuff that you...
I'm like a full researcher. So like
she'd been here 3 times before she came.
Like if you ask me a question, I probably know all the answers already. Like I'm just like that way. Like I want to know all the details. I want to understand all the steps. I want to understand all the processes. So if I have to sit there and watch a video or read a blog, like I will do that. So annoyingly, I don't feel like I've had any
surprises.
I haven't had any surprises because I am that way. That's fair to say, I think.
Yeah, I'm just a turner-upper.
Yeah, yeah.
There's one in every relationship, right? It must be the same for you guys.
100%.
One turns up, we're flying home tomorrow. I don't know what time I fly. I don't know anything.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you both are just respectfully turner-uppers today, because I was like, hey, got an idea. Do you want to just arrive at a podcast studio that we've never done before just to chat through? Because this is like an opportunity to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, fresh. Like
So you're a researcher.
Yeah.
So you've got all this nailed on. For someone that might not be a researcher then, what did you find out during your research that you're like, okay, we need to know this? Like, what's the stuff that you came, like you researched, you learned about Dubai that people might not know? Because I think we've been here now. And one of the things I want to try and do is like every time that we can bump into like guests or people that watch the channel, keep it like fresh for people that are still researching it, because we're going to get like familiar with it, won't we? It's kind of like we won't really remember like what's that first 3, 6, 12 months like.
So there was another family's channel that Jessica found.
So I found it really, I wouldn't say difficult. I feel like, and this is obviously why you started your channel, that gap in the market for the family space on YouTube. And there were lots of single people or teachers or all of that. And I was like, that's not us. That's really not us. And I found another couple and they had 3 children and they moved out here. They also owned their own business in the UK. They had 3 children. They were London life. All of the problems that we had and were trying to escape as such or change or better. So I watched those, and then as a byproduct of that, I looked everything up. So then I looked at schools. Obviously, we're going to talk about schools. I'm not a fan of school, but the schooling here I think is odd. And I think despite it being a UK curriculum in a lot of the schools, I think getting your head around that and the different years and stuff like that was something that I had to adjust to. I'm still not 100% comfortable with like FS1 and stuff. Obviously yours are a little bit older, so that like they have to do full-time education. They're either in or they're out. It's not like, you know how you can go to nursery for 3 days a week, like you're either in or you're out at a certain age, which I think's odd. And I think a lot of people may not know that. So
I didn't know that either. So at the age that yours are, which are 3 and 4?
Yeah. So
what is the situation with education? Let's maybe step into that. What is the situation?
I think mandatory school age isn't till 6 here, which I think is year 1/year 2. Don't quote me on that, but at that age, it's not mandatory until then, which I really agree with. Like the Nordic countries are the same. Yeah. So, but then when we're looking at putting them both in a nursery / preschool for a year where it's smaller, a bit more local.
And they can go together. They won't be in the same class, but they can go together.
So it's not so overwhelming to them or us, to be fair, to go and have to go to like this big, they're still little, aren't they? Like R2. So we found one that goes up to year 1, which will be our eldest, and he will be 5 in that year. So it's the same, it's year 1 in the UK as well. Yeah. But because it was a non-compulsory setting, I thought that I would be able to flexi. So I thought he would be able to do 3 or 4 days or however. And they said no, because of I think it's the KHDA, which is the Ofsted here essentially, isn't it? They have to do a set amount of hours at that age if they're in education. So I was like, oh, okay, which I found odd, but you have to respect whatever the guidelines are.
It's better than the UK. You know, I'm sure of that.
Yeah, 100%. But you would think, especially coming from home, when you send your children to a nursery or preschool, it's flexi you have the control. Even in reception, you can say, I'm actually only sending them in 3 days. Whereas there's a minimum hour and they have to do that. So that I learned and I thought was completely different to home because we have that flexi at home.
If you know the numbers, I guess they're all available anyway, but I didn't do the research coming into this because I don't know the age and the preschool. How much does preschool cost? Like if you were budgeting this and someone's watching this and they've got 3 and a 4-year-old.
Like it's really on par with the UK, really on par. So I think, I actually think it could potentially be a little bit cheaper. And I suppose it depends where you come from in the UK. Like nurseries are like really expensive and if you get hours and stuff like that. But I get funding for Penelope, 15 hours or whatever it is, and I pay like £1,200 a month at home, and that's for 4 days a week. And I think it's about £1,100 a month here for 5 days a week.
Okay.
So it's pretty on par. The only thing I would say is the days are a little bit shorter. Well, but I suppose average it out. And
you don't get any funding here, right?
No.
So it's quite a bit cheaper because throw another 15 hours worth of money on the UK
like
fees.
2K.
Yeah. So
that's true. Yeah.
it is a bit cheaper.
From the research I've done, like the private schools and stuff, I think they're pretty on par with the UK, like, and at a better standard.
This the one particular nursery we went and saw that we both liked, purpose built, brand new. All the sinks are down here, all the toilets are down here. I really like that.
Yeah.
You know, you're not trying to put kids in a building that was designed for adults and make it work.
So like retrofitting it.
Yeah.
For the kids.
Go and use
Which nursery is that, by the way? Which one are you looking at?
Maple Bear.
Maple Bear. Okay.
So it's a Canadian nursery to start with. And they've got lots of branches here, and they've just opened one in Ranches 3. They've got one in Town Square.
I think they've got 3 branches.
They've got one. It's at the bottom of our building.
Yeah.
You know, the one
we drove past it yesterday as we were leaving.
Yeah.
That's the new one that's just
that opened at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Also looks purpose built.
Yeah.
So it's probably got the small sinks, small toilets.
Nice.
I just think that, like, my kids noticed that here in the kids club that they're both toilet trained.
Mm-hmm.
But Penelope liked that she could wash her own hands without being lifted up.
Yeah.
All of those little things. And I want them to adjust as easily as they can here. So I thought, let's just make it really easy for a year. We're going to rent for a year, buy, and then, so for a year, I can put them in somewhere. They're together. It's similar to the setting that they're used to at home. And hopefully it won't feel such a big change for 2 little people.
Yeah, they'll be together.
Yeah.
Even though they're in the same building, but
they're
not
going
together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Easier for you.
Yeah.
We are considering ourselves in this as well. One school run.
Yeah,
you know, because the traffic out here terrifies me, if I'm honest with you. Any video you watch on YouTube, single person, family, whatever, everyone talks about traffic.
Yeah. Especially for someone like, a couple like us that are from a sleepy little village 45 minutes north of Birmingham where there's very little traffic. We're not even like tackling like London or Birmingham traffic anymore. Here, it's like night and day. Can I just jump back one step to the kids for a second and go, what was the conversation with them like when you said we're thinking about moving? How did you tackle that?
I'm very open with the children, so I will always keep them involved. Like I never want them to not be involved. So I've always said, like, when we've watched, we actually explained this yesterday. They watch the YouTube of us sometimes. They're like, oh, can we watch one of those building ones where they look around the buildings or like whatever it might be, or looking at the beach, or like whatever. So
I do my best not to swear in case there's kids watching.
So don't worry about our children with that. You don't want to hear their mouths. So they've always watched videos and stuff like that. And when we came here, obviously, the first time we came here as an exploration trip. So we were open with like, oh, do you like it here? Like, what's your thought? And I know they're little, but like Reginald's 4, and I don't like. I feel like he was quite advanced for his age. He's quite.
He's got an opinion, but in a good way.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So we've always been open with them, and over the last 6 months to a year, I would say we was talking about it more and more, obviously, because we're doing things at home. And he was like, what about all my toys? And I was like, we'll take all your toys. Like, that's fine, because we're going to ship stuff out here. They're little. They want that. I want them to have their home comforts. And then when we came on this trip, he said, can I put my Paw Patrol tower in the suitcase? I was like, no. Why?
It's a main Christmas
like,
present.
It's
that's what I call it. It's a main present.
It's a whole suitcase. And I was
like,
big
box.
I literally looked at him like he had 4 heads. And I was like, no, why? And he was like, well, because you told me I could take all my toys. I was like, yeah, when we move. And he was like, oh, okay then. He was like, so not this one, the next time we go. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. So he's fully aware. And he's like, he's very into his numbers at the moment. So he's like, I don't really want to go home. Like, so could we stay for like 50 more days? Like, and he's proper negotiating. And he's like, I don't really want to go home. And because I pulled him out of school, like he's loving life. Like,
he comes to work
with us at the moment and does stuff with us. And yeah, so he's like they're really excited. And we went to, I was saying to you yesterday, we went to the brunch and then we ended up on the beach at one of the hotels. Penelope's taken her dress off, she's in her knickers, she's in the sea, like she's...
They were catching crabs.
I felt like we was in Southend. There were so many crabs, they're crabby, and I was like, and this is why we're doing it. I was sat here and looking at them on the beach, feral as they are, I was like, this is what it's about. Like, I'm never getting that at home. Like, we're sitting on a sofa, we're in I don't even go to soft places because I think they're filthy at home. I don't know.
Agree.
They're absolutely disgusting. I can't...
But here, they're spotless.
So I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I'm not fair weathered. You know how some people are fair weathered? Like, I don't like the rain. I don't like the wind. So like, we're miserable, at home.
You two are 2 peas in a pod. You two are.
Yeah.
So I would literally, we were at home, or like, and don't get me wrong, we do stuff at home, but I want them to be outside.
It's not the same, is it?
So there was a mix of three groups of kids on the beach last night. There was us. There was an Australian Emirates pilot who lives here, and his wife was a pilot, I believe, as well. And then there was another man with his family, and he was from Georgia.
Yeah.
Just a complete
so diverse,
mix.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And we stood and spoke for maybe an hour. I've got an interest in planes and flying and stuff, so this poor bloke got collared. I've never met a pilot before, so he got absolutely collared. I was like, Jessica, look who I found. Look at this geezer.
I found.
Yeah, I found him, yeah. He
one.
was really cool. He just said, I work for Emirates. And then Jessica was like, do you know he's a pilot? And I was like, whoa. Okay.
Sit down.
Yeah, come back.
I'm not stalker. His wife told me that.
Yeah.
His wife was like, I was like, oh, like what brings you out here? And she was like, but she had like a completely different experience of Dubai, which was interesting. So I had a conversation with her. And I think us Brits all have something to bond over in the fact of we all know what the UK is like. I think we're all here for a similar reason, like whether it be tax, safety, freedom, whatever it might be. I think we've all got something to bond over. Whereas I think where they were from Australia, they haven't found their tribe, which she said she's found hard because we asked them, why have you moved from Oz to here? And she said, because of work, because I was like, you've got the beach, you've got the weather, you've got the safety, you've got the free, like you've got all of that. And she was like, it was for work. So there isn't that much of that community here, which she said she struggled with. So although people have said they found it easy to make friends and stuff like that, she said the complete opposite. And they've been here 3 months now.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I thought that was really interesting to see as well. Like us Brits have got the similar stuff to bond over, whereas they don't, maybe that community's not here for them.
Yeah. So talking about friends, I think that not everyone will put themselves out there either. I think that's like one thing to note. Yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be lonely, especially like when Adam goes back to the UK and stuff. Like, I feel like if you're going to settle somewhere, you need to have that friendship circle. I think that's like really important. But even some of the mums that I've met from the kids' school, I set up like a coffee meeting with some mums locally. And they said they'd been here for years and they'd never, ever done anything like that. And they were so appreciative that I started that.
Alpha female.
But I think it just takes one person.
Yeah.
Because everyone's thinking it.
Yeah, because you're going to benefit from it, but all the other mums are now benefiting from it as well.
But that made me feel good. I was like,
of course, yeah.
Wow, like these people have been here years and they've never done anything, never done anything like that. But like, it also
it's
confuses
as simple
me.
as a WhatsApp group, I can imagine, just to set it
like,
up nice and informal.
100%.
I can't come this week, but I can come next week, whatever.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then I also think the school as well. Of course you can.
You have to put a wig on.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, not to segue too much, but the amount of people that we've connected off the back of it, and we've literally been bumping into people and they've gone, I was at a networking event at a place called YP the other day and I walked in, a woman looked at me, looked away and then stared at me and I was like, what have I done wrong here? And she just looked at me and went, YouTube. And like, and it's been so awesome meeting people.
Yeah.
Like off the back of it, we want to like get people are going to know you now. So when you move here, they're going to be like, oh, I've seen you guys on YouTube. And then we can get together and have coffees. And the weird thing is like, they'll know you and you won't know them.
Conor already gets that at home.
It's so strange, isn't it?
It's so weird. Like he come home one day and he was like, 3 people recognised me today. I was like, that's weird.
I went to 3 different building sites.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was just walking through a shopping centre. Like
but builders
people were hunting me down.
Him, you know.
But it's cool because it will like build a community around like this YouTube channel. So then hopefully off the back of it, we'll end up building like some quick and strong friendships and stuff straight away. But to your point, it just takes one person like putting themselves out there, I think, in most of these situations.
Because some people are really reserved. Like, I mean, I'll talk to anyone, but not everyone's like that. I think that's where people will struggle to make friends. You need to put yourself out there.
So I'll be completely honest. When we first started talking about moving, I was a little bit worried that Jessica wouldn't have the opportunity to make friends and stuff. And
I'm the more, I wouldn't say reserved. Like I will talk to anyone, but I don't like to get in the way of people. So I struggle to put myself out in that situation, whereas Conor will talk to absolutely anybody. So like I'm fine when you get to know someone or you start talking to someone, but that initial...
My panic was, okay, I can go out and talk to people and people will naturally say, oh, like my wife wants to meet your wife or whatever. But what about if the wives don't get on? Because you're sort of shoehorning friendships. Jessica's her own person, you know, she should be able to go out and not just like lock her indoors or whatever, but it's whether she felt confident enough to just say, oh, I'm going to set a coffee morning up, you know, with all the mums on the thing. And I know like you meet parents at school, they might not be your people, you know, and stuff like that. So, but I'm really grateful for you guys, you know, meeting us yesterday, but I do think we should start a Formula One club or something.
For sure. For sure.
That was good fun. To your point, I really respect that as well, by the way, which is like, because you're the one that can probably be more outbound, you didn't want to force your friendship circles on Jessica. Which is amazing. Let me just jump over to one thread that I want to pull on, because we're talking about like you guys' time frame, moving over here, exploring nurseries. What's the time frame you guys are operating to right now? Like, is that still up in the air? Do you know where you want to move to? I got some nods.
Yeah,
I got some nods. Where are you guys in the process?
Up until the end of last year, we were just like, we hadn't set a date, and I was like,
it just keeps rolling.
It was just rolling. I was like, we're setting a date. I said, if you don't have a set date, it's just going to roll and roll and roll. It's just going to, and I was like, we're going in July. I said to you, and you were like, huh? I was like, we're going in July. I said, the school, like, it works for the school year. At that point, Reginald was still in school. So I was like, he'll finish his school year with his friends and he'll have a couple of weeks. We'll move. It'll be hot. We'll go to some soft place because they're clean. And and it'll be fine. I was like, also an element, I was like, if we need to stay anywhere for a month, it'll be a little bit cheaper. It'll take the pressure off that. All of those like logical thoughts in my head. So I said, July, and that's it. So July it is.
July it is. Have you booked the one-way flights yet?
No, but that was my immediate thing. I was like, right, well, let's book the flights now. And she was like, whoa, like logistically.
Yeah, I just need to add the time frame, like, because we're selling our property in the UK. I was like, actually, I need to timeline it and just make sure what date, because I could pick the 17th of, I could pick the 10th of July, but actually it might need to be the 20th of July. Like,
yeah.
So a little bit about that.
Yeah, let's jump into that.
Everyone would probably say, why are you selling you might not like it. You might want to go back. Respect that. But we're at a point where we've renovated our house, and if we were staying in the UK, we'd probably look to sell it and buy something else anyway.
Okay.
So if it doesn't work here, which it will, going home to that particular house is a non-negotiable.
We discussed this yesterday, didn't we? Like, if we, for whatever reason, had to go home or back to the UK or whatever, we wouldn't go back and live there. So
then the rental part of it, because we could rent it out, and this will be what a lot of people at home are probably thinking if they're thinking about moving, you need to tell your mortgage company that you're doing an expat mortgage, and the rates on the mortgage aren't particularly friendly. So once we run those numbers for the rental value, the management fee, the rent headache, insurance, then you factor the headache into it.
And you can't, they've changed it now, so you can't, this is getting technical, your tax person can also talk about it.
This is perfect, by the way, because I'm going to use this to tee me up for the conversation that I'm having next week, because this is one of the most common questions, by the way, which is,
if this is what we're thinking about, this must be what your watchers are thinking 100%. About, right?
But you can't, as a tax like benefit as such now, you can't offset your mortgage as a cost. So that doesn't come off as a cost either. So you're left with next to nothing for nothing. And then we were like, we've got a brand new house essentially, like brand new. We're going to go back to it in 2 years, or when the tenants want to be out of it in 2 years, and we'll probably have to do it again. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, we're going to lose, let's just get rid of it.
And it was built to live in.
Yeah.
It was built to be a family home. It wasn't a flip and reno job. So it's like, to our spec, we spent more than we should have on certain parts of the house because we lived it, loved it for 2 years. And then this opportunity came about. So it was like, it's time to just let it go.
So what you're working to is get that on the market, get it closed and sold, and then from there, move over.
Yeah, so my mum's offered, like I said, mentioned earlier, and I mentioned yesterday, we are going to ship some of our stuff over. I did a quote to see how much it was to ship all of the stuff that I would ideally ship over, to see whether I could replace it, because I wasn't actually sure how much it was, and it wasn't very expensive. So I was like, we're going to take X amount of stuff.
Define not very expensive. What's the quotes that you've got?
I think it was like £2,900.
And that's for half a container, half a 40-foot container, so 20 foot. And it takes about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. He was really honest with me, and it was a recommendation, because I've read and heard horror stories from shipping and it being stuck at customs for 12 weeks, or things getting frozen or mouldy or things like that. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do the research and find a decent. And I got a recommendation from someone very wealthy. So I was like, they're not going to recommend someone like rubbish within. And I found out this company has a team based here, so they're not using like a third party's team. Like, they've got someone at customs ready to sign for your your container and stuff like that, as opposed to waiting for another company to have to come and sign for your container and all of that. And I was like, honestly, I need your honest opinions. Like, I need you to tell me truthfully how long it's going to take, because I don't want you to do it and say it's 6 weeks and actually it's going to be 12. I'd rather you tell me it's going to be 12 weeks so I can plan accordingly. I've got children. And he was like, I'm not going to lie to you. He was like, we're doing this all the time. He said, on a good time, I can get it there in 6 weeks based on when you tell me you want to book it and the container and stuff. It can take up to 10 weeks. He was like, I've not had a 12-week one. He was like, so you're looking at 6 to 10 weeks. He was like, but if we time it accordingly, I could have it there in 6 weeks. I was like, I'll base it on 10 weeks then.
Yeah.
On a worst case.
100%.
You know? And I appreciated the honesty, and he explained everything. And I was like, I said something really, maybe not stupid. I was like, have I got to like clean film the mattress? Because I was like, because we've got, container. I was like, it's going to be filthy. And he was like, nope. So you box all your like stuff up, and then like your soft furnishings, like if you want to take your sofa, your beds, headboards, tellies, leave those. We'll wrap them all. It's like a help, like you part package and they part package, and then they do all of that. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
So that's like £2,900 door to door for half a container.
Yeah. And to put that into perspective, that was our Super King bed, which is an ottoman, so it can't be like flat packed. One sofa, garden furniture, because I've heard garden furniture is like extortion out here, and I was like, we've got it, it's brand new. Like, why would I not?
Yep. And then,
I did it on like
then part of ours blew off the balcony the other day.
I did it on like not worst case scenario, but like if I was going to take what I wanted to take, I'll just put that on the list and see how much it comes to. Dining table, not the chairs because we need new ones. Like all of our kitchen stuff, because we've got really expensive pans. Like they would be very expensive. Like we've probably got £800 worth of pans and stuff, like, because you do that when you buy a new one, etc.
Based on the fact I'm never buying another set of pot pans in my life.
All the kids' toys, the kids' mattresses, because they've got really good single mattresses. Like
all my hobbies.
Oh no, we're not getting on to the hobbies.
Yesterday, all my hobbies.
No, I didn't allow for anything in the garage, so you need to deal with that.
I'll have the other 20 foot for all my stuff.
Those are the 2,900
so
quid hobbies.
I over-regged it when I was getting the quote so that...
So like power tools. I've got power tools from when we renovated the house. Why would I leave the power tools in the UK?
But why would you need them
You're
here?
not going to need power tools here.
Why would you need them here?
He's also really bad at it.
It's just,
I'm not great at
like
DIY. A man without his tools.
Yeah, like, you've got to have a drill and an impact drive, haven't you?
Why don't you sell them and buy yourself something nice?
Like what?
I don't know.
Second-hand tools that are not great, like on the sale market.
A new hobby.
A new hobby.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you should take up rollerblading down Kite Beach.
Yeah,
that
okay.
is like
that could work.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Adam said I'll be useless at it.
No, just Pilates first is what.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation. It'd be really awesome, by the way, if you're up for it, maybe 3 months after you move, to come back here and just talk us through, like, did it arrive in 10 or 12 weeks? How did all that? Because we didn't go through that process. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
I know it will. It will land within 10 to 12 weeks.
We've got to manifest that.
But it'll be good to, I guess, touch base on that.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of like locations, guys, where are you guys thinking about moving to? And what's, I guess, probably more importantly to the people watching, like, what's the thought process that's going into that?
Okay, so watch loads of YouTube videos initially. We're from home. Do that research. So then Jessica got in touch with some agents that she'd found either on Instagram or through other people's YouTube channels, your YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Then we had one day where we were going. We got booked a driver for the day. How much did that cost us?
He didn't even want to take any money.
No,
I think I paid like £120.
Yeah, just for like the people who are considering doing it. He'll wait. And then you're not like trying to book an Uber.
Sorry, you put that through like a broker to say...
No, we found him at Christmas when we came. He dropped us to the airport.
And he gave us
then we had
his number.
And then we said, we're coming back in March. Can you do this? So he picks up from the airport. And then, we booked him for the whole day on Monday. So then he would just drop us off, go... he spoke to his family in the car. He had a little sleep on one of the visits. And that de-stressed it because we took the kids with us.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the children to see the schools.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes the children can get a vibe.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, and you want to pick up on their vibe as well. Like, are they feeling excited by this?
So Jessica had an itinerary planned.
Of course.
Because that's very Jessica.
Yep.
I just turned up for
I've
support.
got a spreadsheet for that, actually.
By the way, knowing all this now makes me feel like hopefully I didn't give you too much anxiety, which is like, do you want to do a podcast tomorrow with very little planning?
No, that was perfect for me because I had no time to worry about it.
Overthinking. Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, and we had a lot of drinks yesterday, so I didn't really think about it then.
So we went to Ranches.
Free. Oh, for the school.
For the school.
Yeah.
I was going to start with the schools. Ranches
Sorry.
Primary School,
Mm-hmm.
which was lovely. Like, it's Monday morning. Go outside, tour, full-size swimming pool, and the kids are having swimming lessons on a Monday morning. I just thought, oh, how cool is that compared to like maths, English, They do all that stuff, but they're learning to swim at school. They had like either like 3G or 4G football pitch. They're allowed to play a bit of football running around in the morning when they get dropped off. The bit we were a bit uncertain of is at home, we might have like a 2 form entry. So like 2 year 1s, 2 year 2s. Yeah, this had 6.
Wow.
For primary school. It was like a secondary school at home.
Wow.
And the Reginald liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it as well.
But we think maybe that could be next year for us. You know, just because we've got that option of going to a nursery, putting them both in a nursery for 1 year.
Yep.
We just feel like that might be a bit more transitional for them rather than going.
It also links
straight in the deep end, literally.
Yeah, it also links into we're going to rent in one of these communities for a year, and our plan is to buy next year. We've renoed. We like doing that. We would like to do that again here. Like, so that's part of our plan next year. And I was apprehensive to put them in a school and then potentially have to move them after a year.
Yeah.
Like, especially it will take longer for them to settle in a bigger school, you know, and get used to that. So that's played into our choice as well.
And traffic.
And traffic. Yep.
We're terrified of the traffic.
So which communities are you thinking about renting in for a year and sampling?
So we looked at Arabian Ranches 3.
Mm-hmm.
We looked
What
at...
was that like?
Very nice.
I've never
very
been.
nice.
Okay.
Brand new souk, which has got Costas, Waitrose, Spinneys, or Joe and the Juice. Like, really, really nice.
Love a Joe
and the Juice, yeah. And the Maple Bear Nursery's in that souk. So I've got visions of walking the kids to school or scootering to school.
Or cycling, yeah.
Oh, look, I've got a work call in 5 minutes. I'll just have to go and Joe and the Juice and sit there and do it, you know. That's like my Dubai vision. Yeah. We looked at Villanova.
I would say so we looked at a 3-bed in Ranches 3 because the 4-bed they wanted to show us sold the weekend that we arrived. Not sold, was like rented out. And I would say that the 3-bed living space in Ranches 3 was small.
Okay.
So to put this into perspective, because you've done the Villanova tour, you know where the Villanova kitchen is like an additional bit.
Yep.
In the Ranches 3, it's the kitchen and the living area is like the same.
That
bit.
Same width bit, okay.
And so you don't get that extra. So it is. And I was thinking, like, where are the children's toys going? Like, and people are like, oh, they'll be out inside. No, the children will want to play with their toys. Like, we was talking like yours have got tech. Like, ours have got towers and magnetic tiles and all of that. They will want to play. I was like, oh, like, it's not going to work. So, and then we saw some 3-beds.
How much was that, by the way, at Ranches 3, just as a ballpark?
I think it was like 150, 160.
Okay.
But that was brand new, right?
Yeah, brand new one.
Yeah.
But then we went to see Villanova. So we saw the new ones that we shouldn't have seen, but we saw, which obviously you've done the tour on your channel so people can watch that. But once we saw that and we saw the size of them, the kids want to share a room. They want a bunk bed. So we know that we've got technically one spare bedroom, but obviously we both work from home. We want people to be able to visit and it not be like a huge expense. Like we understand that it's an expense, but
pay for your flights, come and stay for us.
So that played into it. So after seeing them, and we also saw 2 of the Amaranta ones in Villanova, which is the older community. So, you know, as you drive in there, like the yellow ones.
Is that the first one that we went to? We saw 2.
Well,
It was an older build and a newer build.
I don't know what it was called, but I think we both have the same thoughts on it. It was not for us.
Yeah, not for us. It felt gloomy, in all honesty. And I know there'll be lots of people living in it and being like,
if we were buying it would be different.
But
because you can do it.
Your own stamp on it.
Yeah.
But again, the living space was smaller in that one as well, which we discussed yesterday, didn't we? The living space was slightly smaller in that. And I think coming to see seeing what we've seen so far, we need a 4-bed, 4 toys, office space, having someone to come and stay.
It's the whole working from home thing, you know.
100%. Yeah, because for the channel who know, I'm bouncing from like coffee shop to coffee shop. I've tried some co-working spaces. I like to feel more settled. Sarah, interestingly, likes to be in coffee shops more. I like to just have a base and work. And I heard that you like Minority Report, multiple screens. You're like,
I do like a big screen.
I'm probably more flexible. Like, I could go to a coffee shop and work, but Connor's like, I need this big screen and I need
my keyboard and my mouse, and I'm very particular. So when you did your video on like working spaces, like my ears pricked up and I was like full attention, because I'm thinking, okay, I want my life to look like that, but in reality I'm gonna need days where I just shut the door, got my big screen, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
As if I was at home.
Yeah, you get on with work. So that's one of the things, like when we move, I'll have a home office.
Yeah.
We'll have a space in the living space where you can do calls or you can bounce into a coffee shop. But I just need somewhere that's more, grounded. I just need to get into a bit of a routine.
Yeah. I think, like meeting you yesterday, I think there's some similarities with us and some similarities with you. Like, I went to call you Reginald. Conor is like, bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, you need to just put your headphones on, shut the door and just ignore everybody.
Stop
to get your stuff done.
Stop trying to solve all the world's problems all at once.
Yeah.
Today.
Whereas I'm like, logical, I've got my list. I'll work my list.
plans every day out for me.
Well, interestingly, I think we touched on it yesterday, is like the time zone, because your customers, clients, everything is going to be still UK based, similar to ours, is that I call it the golden hour in the morning or golden hours, like whether it's +3 or +4 when the UK wakes up, you get so much work done. You get a day's worth of work done before the UK's even awake.
So I've trialed that while we've been here this time.
How's that gone?
Amazing. I've got so much work done.
It's like a different Conor.
It's not really, like, I've not been stressed, have I?
No.
Like I'll work today. So we'll probably go from here, grab my laptop, Jessica will look after the kids, and I'll do a few bits, get ahead, and then let the lads at home crack on.
Yeah. How are you going to protect that when you come over here from a time perspective? Because the risk is that you do just as much time in the morning before the UK wakes up. The UK wakes up, then you do an 8-hour shift. And we've got one US client, and it kind of drags on the other side as well. Yeah. How are you thinking about tackling that?
I'm going to talk to you about it.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to you about it and try and set some boundaries in place internally first, and then say to the team in the UK, this is how I want to operate.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important to do from day one.
Yeah.
Not like train them one way and then
be like, that's not really working. Jessica won't have that problem. She can she's already got that skill built in. I don't have that.
Fair.
I'm too much of a people pleaser, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I'm big on boundaries and knowing where it lies, and like you can't be available all the time.
Yeah.
You just can't. If it's an emergency, of course, like you're human, but 9 times out, we're not doing brain surgery, any of us, are we? Like, that's what I have to say to people. We're not brain surgeons. No one's dying. Like, it's an Excel spreadsheet or something, you know?
When I worked on the bigger stuff for someone else, my commercial manager, his wife, was a neonatal nurse.
Yeah.
And we thought we were stressed at times. And then when I found out what a neonatal nurse is, I realised, like there's a lot of money at stake in surveying and construction and stuff, but you haven't got someone's life in your hands.
It's perspective at that point.
Yeah, at that point. And I never forgot it. I never forgot that conversation.
100%.
So
I'm going to pull back. So Ranches, Villanova, where do you think you'll end up?
I personally think Villanova.
Okay.
I think because the houses just seem a little bit bigger.
And the pub.
The bolt hole.
Like the pub.
And the fact that we're going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we've already got like a small community feel.
100%.
We've been to the bolt hole twice because obviously we saw
good Guinness.
The houses.
For anyone who likes Guinness, good Guinness.
I haven't tried the Guinness there yet.
Are you joking?
No.
What?
He had 4 pints and had a scratch card.
I had 4 pints on a Monday afternoon. I came back and the mother-in-law was like, you look a bit flushed.
Is this the mother-in-law that you're waiting to finish Negronis yesterday before you said?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
We need some kid cover tomorrow morning.
Yeah. We've had a surprise offer.
I think Villanova, I liked the feel of it. I don't know. It seemed a bit green. I don't know. I didn't see all of Ranches
isn't finished. You go from the front.
Villanova Villanova.
You go from the front area, and then you go. They're ready to be handed over, or they're handing over this week, and then you go. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. You drive down that road that runs next to it, and it's like, okay, you can see all the different phases of construction. You know, these ones are finished. These ones have got, they're watertight and they're doing the interiors. These ones are still a concrete frame.
Yeah.
These ones are still having foundations dug. You know, it's really.
By the way, people are now thinking, how does he know all these? He's just driving down, and to a normal human, that's like they don't know these phases. We'll get into the work that you do soon, but there is that's relevant to what you do as a career.
From the bit of Villanova I've seen, it seems greener. There's a bit more space. We ended up leaving, I think, at 6 o'clock one evening, so all the kids were playing out, and I was like, that's always what I've wanted at home.
Oh, nice. We haven't seen that, so that's nice to hear.
We drove out in the car, and I was like, what is that noise? And it was like a school playground. You know, like that noise when the kids are playing.
Yeah.
That, and I was like, that's exactly what I wanted. And to have that.
Oh, that's giving me goosebumps.
And
genuinely.
to have
that's
that,
what we want.
I know it sounds silly, but to have a pub with a garden and a barbecue and that on your doorstep, which they don't have in Ranches 3. They've obviously got the souk, but it's got like restaurants more formal. Sometimes you just want to go for a drink and be able to walk, and the pool was right next to it. Like as our children get older, or we had lifeguards, or like they'll be able to be there while we're there. Like I liked that appealed to me. And yeah,
Town Square was the other consideration.
Yeah,
never seen it.
We didn't go to see it, although my friend did kindly offer, if she's got a 4-bed, she offered just to come and have a look. But they're putting another road in or something, which is going to ease the traffic, but they're also building a school there. But our accountant actually said he's a big fan of Town Square. So anyone like who's got a family, I think you should consider that.
Okay.
it's just the traffic.
Just the traffic and
The nursery
that's there is full, isn't it?
There's a maple bed on Town Square, but it's full. And they were like, well, there's no spaces, you can go to Ranches 3. And I was like, if I've got to do that commute, I might as well just live there. Like I'm driving all the way there to drive all the way back.
Yeah.
If I had to drive there and then drive on to go to work, but we haven't, we've got to drive all the way there to go back. It sounds counter.
If we're starting afresh,
Yeah.
might as well just
Make it easier.
like orchestrate it exactly how you want it to look,
Yeah,
right?
build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
For sure.
You sort of talk about work there. Let me just jump into that. Just 30 seconds of context to what you guys do work-wise. And then I want to use the opportunity to go, well, how are you thinking about moving the business over here, sort of mainland company, free zone company and around that. So do you want to give us the 30-second pitch of what you guys actually do?
Go.
We run a quantity surveying company in the UK.
What does that mean to someone that talked to me like you're talking to a Labrador who
So-
might not know what the industry is? We know the industry,
Yeah.
but what does that actually mean?
So we help builders price jobs, basically. That's the most simple way of explaining it. So if a customer, say you were doing a house extension in the UK, you ring a builder and say, I need a builder. And the builder would come to us with your drawings and say, Conor, Jessica, can you price these for me? So you get it right. It looks professional. And then they'd give you a quote back. They may tell you that we've done it, or they may tell you that they've done it themselves. It doesn't really matter. You just know it's right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got a proper cost in. You're not going to get builder comes to you saying, I forgot about that bit. I'm going to need a bit more money towards the end. That's what we do.
So
That's most of what we do.
Yeah.
So in terms of how you are thinking about moving that over here, what's the setup that you're thinking about doing in terms of like where you're going to do it, how you're going to interact with your UK company and bits like that?
It's being set up at the moment. We decided to do mainland because we see an opportunity to employ out here. Surveyors are notoriously expensive in the UK and difficult to employ and deal with and handle.
I literally was that for someone else.
Um,
It's a highly paid job.
Mm-hmm.
So your head's always being turned,
Yeah.
you know, for more money.
And then I saw an opportunity here and I was like, if we're on the ground, we can train them, we can do it the way we need them to do it, etc., etc. And for like a lesser salary here. So I wanted that choice. And when they explained that if we had free zone, the cost to change and stuff, and I was like, let's just do it once and do mainland. It's initially a little bit more expensive, but
Do you
we
mind
have
sharing
that
how much
choice.
roughly those costs are for people that are watching? Like
We've got a
ballpark?
company to help us do that. So they're handling our visas.
Everything.
Everything.
Yep.
Maybe I can ask her and we could maybe put her details in the link at
Yep.
the bottom because she would be really useful for someone.
100%. We're trying to like build
Like she's
anyone
like,
that
brilliant.
our community have used and recommend. If we could build like a little black book for anyone that's watching, that'd be
So
amazing.
our accountant lives out here, but he's our UK accountant. He's worked out really well. He's our UK accountant. He's got a practice. Like we don't talk to him every day. Like he's got a team. He's our UK accountant, but he's also got a UAE account.
wow.
So it works out. It's worked out like perfectly. And then we said like, do you know anyone to set it up? And we've gone to like Kate, and she's just doing it all. We've come up against a bit of an issue so Price My Project is our company name. It doesn't translate properly here. So we're having a difficulty with actually getting the name. So we're going through that at the moment, which has taken a little bit longer than we expected because you can go on Company's House at Home, register and
Done.
it's done.
Yeah,
It's like
done,
£12.50 or something silly.
It's
like.
a lot more expensive
Yeah,
here. But
and
I've
there's-
got a figure in my head of how much. So this is like the company setup cost because we are going to try and open a branch essentially out here.
Yeah.
We'll always keep our UK head office because we need that for our staff. We don't want to lose our staff that we've already got there. Correct me if I'm wrong, the visas, this includes the kids, the setup of the company formation, etc., etc.
Like office space, all of
A
that.
virtual office space.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was 12k GBP.
Yeah, like 11.5 grand. Yeah.
Yeah. So
All
that's,
in.
that's around nearly double what we've paid for a free zone.
Okay.
Is that do you know if the difference there is because it's a free zone to mainland? Is that where the real cost difference is?
So when we got our quote for, because they quoted us for both options, so it's about 11.5. And I think for the free zone, it was like 8. So there is quite a huge
6.8.
Yeah. So that's where you can see the difference. I would say it's been really easy. We've been able to WhatsApp her. She's done so much. Like
there's a service level there as well.
100%. Like
she's a director in that business, but she handled our case. I don't know whether that's because
of who we got recommended by.
Yeah, because of our accountant.
I know you guys had a problem of like attesting your documents, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I think that's cost you an element of money, whereas it's cost me £200.
Oh, okay.
So like all of those, I think all of that, but for like,
but at least you were able to name your business straight away.
But people have, so the money you've saved there.
Is called?
No, what is yours called?
Oh, it's a little side story here, but when we were thinking about moving here, we were walking around have you been to the
Dubai Safari Park?
No.
Have you not been?
Oh, we've been here 4 times. There's so much stuff we haven't done. It's crazy.
You need to put that on your list.
Yeah.
It is
That
amazing.
is one of the best value trips you can do. So
Okay.
the
sure.
kids will absolutely love it. And we were walking around and we just started watching like Dragon's Den and Shark Tank as a family
Love that.
together.
Yeah, I love that.
And the boys were like talking about business, and we were walking around the safari park, and there's an animal there called the moon bear. And I can't remember whether it was Riley or Reggie. It was part of the conversation. Like, Daddy, when we get older, we want to start a business together. We want to call it Moon Bear. It's such a cool name. So we just called the business
that.
out here.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Moon
Love
Bear.
that.
Ours is just like a vehicle to like invoice
of
like,
course,
entities in the UK and bits like that. So it sounds like free zone was off the cards because you want to be able to actually hire here.
Yeah.
Question on that. Are you looking to hire here, but then service the UK with the, I guess R being the difference of like salaries here compared to the UK, or are you actually looking to do business here?
Both.
Okay.
I think we definitely want to explore. There's communities here that are 20-ish years old.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Brits here. What do Brits do when they buy a house? They want to put their own stamp on it. They want to renovate it. So we went to Lakes, which is an older community. One of Jessica's family lives there, and they invited us to look at their house last week. They bought and they've done it up the way that they are planning to stay in it, and it looks beautiful. You know, and that's in a community that's maybe 15, 20 years old.
Yeah.
So that would fit with the business model we've got at the moment.
Yeah, initially, we are planning to grow our UK business. Like we're not taking our foot off the pedal. I think that's the saying. I'm so bad at sayings. Like our biggest goal, like at the moment, is to continue to grow our UK business and Dubai be like a side product of it as it happens organically, as opposed to like, right, we're here in Dubai, we need to grow a Dubai business. Like we still are fully invested in the UK. We offer a great product. We've grown it organically. We've only just scratched the surface. So that is our biggest like focus still.
See the difference in personality there? All right, yeah, we'll give the UAE a crack, no problem. And I'm already thinking about doing that, whereas Jessica's focused. Let's get this done first.
100%.
Let's get this done. Let's get this sorted in the UK, get it to exactly where we need it to be. And that's why we work well together.
Going back to your question about employing here to service the UK, I think, I don't see why not. I think essentially it's us and our customers and our client base have to trust that we employ the right people. Ultimately, like wherever they are in the world. I'm big on remote working, and I think talent is everywhere. And I don't think it really matters. We're a remote business. We see a handful of builders because they live in the local area. We don't see, we already service Guernsey, we service Ireland, we service Scotland. We don't see them. So whether we're in Timbuktu or South East London, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Cheaper per square foot.
It doesn't really matter. And our customers, we're going to take them on the journey. We want them to feel included and confident, like that we're still PMP.
The customers we have told that we're going to move are all for it.
Yeah.
It's also big, but having a wander around what you guys do and then looking at your socials, it's also because my assumption is you guys do content. They feel like your customers become friends because they feel like they know, like, and trust you. It's not just like there's a service because of the content you put out. There's kind of I don't know, they're buying into you guys. So like they're excited for you.
I've got a customer that gave me a Christmas present.
Yeah, that's cool.
He said he'd never do another job without us.
Like, you already know this, but Conor's running the marathon for one of our customers.
Yeah.
Like, they are extensions of us, and like, you're like, oh, we haven't heard from so and so. Let's check in. Are they okay? Is everything okay? Like, they are extensions.
Most of them say it's snowed under. You've won too many jobs for us now, and we can't keep up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
we have created that community, and I think that's what the social media is about. Like, feedback from other businesses is that they don't get that. Like, I think ultimately we care. We want you to win the work.
But it's our job to maintain that level of service.
Yeah.
If we want to move out here.
Yeah, and probably even like over-indexing on it for the first like 6-12 months when they know you've relocated.
We had to have a conversation.
And they don't get a dip in service.
We had to have a conversation. How are we gonna tell? We've got 5,000 followers on Instagram. We're not huge.
Yep.
But how are we gonna tell those dedicated, loyal 5,000 people that we're moving 7 hours away?
Mm-hmm.
Even though 99.5% of them we've never met face to face, but I don't want to lose any of them.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that I've learned over sort of like our move as well as the content that we put out is the people that are following you, some of them maybe because they want to do business in the future. Some of them may just because they like you too, they like your entrepreneurial journey, they want you to win.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be rooting for you.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like, cool, this is expansion, this is opportunity. And the people that care, like they'll be like your cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And the people that have a problem with it, they're not your audience anyway. They're not your tribe.
That's my biggest thing.
They're just not your tribe anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever. Just let them unsubscribe and keep driving the comments and forcing the engagement for you. It's amazing. Yeah. Guys, let me just spend the last bit of this of like future gazing a little bit with you. Like, what does success look like out for you here? Let's just put like 2 time windows on it. Let's just say in the first 12 months, like what do you want to have done, achieve? What does that feel like? What are you trying to get done in the first 12 months here? If we're sat down, let me ask a better question, try and get a better answer. If we're sat down here in 12 months time, what position are you in? What position is the family in? What position is the business in?
Come back in 12 months. We'll sit down again and you'll find out. No, go on, you go.
I think I would like to be in the process of buying, or in that step of like buying where we want to buy. I've got some ideas of communities, but that will hopefully depend on if we have a good year business wise, which we will. And I think I don't love school, and I think I would love to be in a position to be in and creating more of that home education community here for my children. I think it's already here, but I would love to be part of that for our children. Amazing. Because the 7:20 starts just not for me.
Fair. How about yourself, Conor?
I want to be fit and healthy, and I don't want to replicate the life I've got in the UK here. So I'm using this as a fresh start to my highest priority is obviously family and kids, but my highest personal goal will be lose the weight I've been saying I'm going to lose since I became an adult, and just live a generally healthier lifestyle with better food choices, and socialise. I don't socialise much at home anymore, but hopefully as work starts to not level off, but we put processes in place, get things under control properly, I'll have more free time to do stuff, whatever that stuff is. All those hobbies can come back into play.
Makes sense. I'm going to ask Sarah a question and then I'm going to fire over to you guys. And in case, because we're never on the other side of this, which is if you guys have got any more questions for us that we haven't covered on the channel, maybe have a think about those for a quick sec. But I'm going to use it as an opportunity to ask you as well. We've been here for coming up to, I guess, nearly 9 months. A year from now, maybe let's call it 14 months because we're about to move to Villanova and try that. Can I just...
that was my question. That was my question.
This is just going to be you guys just be witness to this right now, so I apologize. But every time I mention the move right now, I'm getting a slight wince. What is that?
I feel like it was rushed.
I get pulled apart.
I feel like it was...
For this, by the way.
It looked, as a watcher, it looked rushed.
It felt rushed. It felt like we didn't discuss it. It felt like you just took the lead and was like, yeah, we're moving. That's how it feels to me.
Okay.
And I'm just nervous about the drive. I'm just nervous about going from being able to walk, having that convenience, to now having to get on a car and drive.
Is that like the only concern?
Yeah, really. I didn't... probably, yeah. Like that's the main one. But I am really settled where we are, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the walk to school.
Yeah, part of the driver for me, I'm not sure if we covered it on the pod, which is we're on the channel. Committing to buy is like important for us. I want to like find a place that we can call home, settle down, buy. We've kind of experienced like the apartment life. I wanted to experience. Well, we wanted to experience.
You.
No, we wanted to.
The boys are buzzing as well.
The boys are very excited.
The boys are buzzing.
The boys
Until
are
they have
excited.
to do the car journey.
Until they have to
do
sit in the
cold journey
car.
or a bush run.
And Reggie,
even earlier.
Yeah, and Reggie loves his bed. Like, I have to wake him up every single morning, whereas Riley's like up and ready.
Yeah, doing sprint training with me on the treadmill one at 5:45. Riley is.
Yeah,
But I think the one benefit that's going to come out of it is we'll experience a different community. We'll try that sort of life. And I'll personally then have as much conviction as I need to say, no, we had it really good there. Let's go back there and do that.
that also worries me as well, because I feel like even the Villanova decision, we didn't look at any other communities. It was, right, let's go and look at Villanova. Cool, we're moving to Villanova. Like, we didn't go and look at any other townhouses or villas or community areas.
You make it sound like I didn't speak to you at all about this, which I did.
You may as well have just gone and viewed it yourself, to be fair.
We have looked at some of them, and we really like Villanova. So hopefully that feels
for
a little bit.
reference, at home, Jessica's very into education, stuff like that. We looked at one nursery with Reginald when he was a year old, and we never looked at any more.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been very, very happy there
Yeah, Penelope's
for the whole
still
time.
there, yeah.
Penelope's still there. So
sometimes
maybe
it just
just
happens.
know. If you had that much of a, if you were that worried, I think you're
It's 100%.
strong enough as a person to say,
Oh, for sure. But
Listen,
I
we're
had
not
it
doing
taken
this.
off.
It's still change, isn't it?
No, but that's a really fair point, which is this was a, you were like, yes, but I'm nervous. It was never a no, and here's why.
I don't think we had the opportunity to discuss it before you drove past the turn-in of Shoba Heartland, drove us to
The
bolt hole and said, guess what, babe? We're moving. And I was like, what? That's
So I tell
honestly
you
how
what,
it went down.
As an outsider, you're worried because this is going to turn into therapy session now. They might get cut out. No. If you're worried about the school run, you got to divvy it up.
Yep.
And that's where I would get on a logical level. If that's what you're worried about, you have to divvy it up. And this is what we got to in the UK. Connor, when we moved Reginald, like when Reginald went to school this year, we moved in, it was a private school and it wasn't local. So I had to do 2 school runs. And to start with, I wanted to be in control of it. I wanted to know he walked through that door and he was happy. But it got to the point where I was doing 4 hours work because by the time I got to work, settled in, then I was leaving to do the school run again. I was doing no work. And it got to the point I was like, I am pulling my hair out. So we had to divvy it up. And actually, it was better for everybody because all the stress was on me. I was having a pop at him. I was screaming at the kids because I know that there's work to be done. I know the house is a hellhole. That all
doing
of that.
a full-time job in a condensed
100%.
day.
And I was like, we had to on a level. I was like, you do the morning run and I'll do the afternoon one. So I've got the time in the morning and we had to do it that way. And don't get me wrong, there are days where there's a meeting popped in and Connor's like, oh, someone really needs me to do this call. Could we swap that day? And there is that. But I only, having just done that in a different capacity or country, that's what will help. But you have to both be on board with that.
Would that genuinely, just lean into this a bit, if I commit to that, would that make it feel less anxious for you?
No, because I don't think it's not that it's all on me. That's not the feeling. It's feeling like, oh my God, why the hell did we move when we could walk? Because one of us has got to do it.
Yeah.
So it's still a major inconvenience every day.
Compared to walking.
But you are going to have a garden and the boys are going to have a little bit more space and all of that. Like
100%.
there are. So,
but also, as you know, from my perspective, I never will have bought, one of our goals is to buy, and I will never buy without sampling something else to know we're making a good decision. So this is like part of the process we have to go through to then choose where we want to buy.
I part agree, part disagree, because we could sample loads of different. If we want to buy next year, let's say, we're only going to have sampled living in an apartment at Shoba Heartland and living in Villanova.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be enough to educate me anyway to make a decision around, does the commute become a deal breaker? And is that type of community something that we want to live in?
Yeah.
If not, you go and rent again for 6 months or rent again for a year in somewhere else and Alan doesn't get to pick.
Yeah.
I think I think you'll really enjoy it, but I do think that you need to have that conversation about sharing that responsibility because although you say you don't mind, because I didn't mind either because I wanted to know that Reginald was happy and they walked through that door and there's an element of like, because I knew if Reginald didn't go in happy, he didn't tell me. And that was to protect me, I understand. But I also knew that would happen one day. 'Cause there was no way 5 days a week he was going in and he was buzzing because he just wasn't. I knew he wasn't. But he would never tell me. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to do it myself. I'm going to have to be in control. And I had to get to the point where I was like, he's fine when he goes in. And we had to divvy that up. But we had to do it we had to have a business meeting about it because I know he's busy. I'm busy. I was like, we have to, it's the only way that's fair. And you have to commit to that.
Fair.
And I wasn't cool with it at first.
He was not cool with it.
Because my whole career, 15 years of surveying, has been getting up at the crack of dawn, missing the traffic, going to Southeast London to North London, wherever my jobs were. And I never had that responsibility of I've got to do school runs. Jessica just accepted it. I had to miss the traffic. Otherwise, I was a grumpy man. But actually, what I did was restructure my working day so that all the calls I did while I was sitting in traffic in the car.
Yeah.
And that's how we made it work. And now I'm okay with it. You know?
And you made it work because you had a forcing function to say this needs to change.
For
it was having a detrimental effect
100%.
on our household. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Not to the point where we were going to split up, but
no.
But we just it needed to be spoke about.
Fair.
You know?
Yeah.
And it got sorted, and I suppose that's why we're married, because we do sit down and
communicate.
Yeah.
You work it through, man. That's cool. Firstly, thank you.
That's probably why, another thing, like you said, control. I like to be in control.
Yeah.
And that's probably another thing that I felt that you took that control away from me and you just made the decision. And that's probably why I'm still probably deep down.
I watched that video.
About it.
I watched that video and I was like, that's so alpha male. Yes, fair play, man.
No, it wasn't.
He just took it and did it.
But I think there's a mum.
My case here.
There's a mum bit there, though, isn't there? In the boys, and I get that.
But on that, I also know that it never would have been perfect. There would have always been something.
Yeah.
And we had to make a decision. Don't get me wrong, we didn't have to make a decision that day. Pause, please. We didn't have to make a decision that day.
This is when he talks to me like shit.
No, it's just you don't let me finish the thought here, which is we had to. Jessica's like, oh my God. Yeah. It's I know we had to make a decision, and I think if I'd left it to you to say, are we doing it or not, nothing would have changed.
I disagree. I think I would have said, I'm not against it, but if we are going to move, we should explore other areas. I think would have been my decision.
Completely sensible. Guys, you can invoice us for this therapy session. Which has been fantastic.
There'll be an ongoing fee, yeah?
It's just nice to see other people's perspectives who are in a very similar set of scenarios to us.
Yeah.
But
I see it from your point because we've just gone through that at home. That bit was it was that.
It's compromise.
Okay, word of the day. Let's try and learn that one.
You can put the definition at the bottom.
Guys, anything from your side? Anything that you want to ask us? Because we never get, I guess, live questions. Or is anything top of mind? Or anything you want to share?
I was going to ask you about the moving situation and how you're feeling about that. I was interested to know how you're finding the school, and the school, because they're so different to home. How have you found the schools here for the boys?
It's definitely one for you, Sarah.
What school did they go to again?
Did you know they can walk?
Do you reckon for a bit?
Yeah. Yeah, it's about that time.
To be fair to him, this morning, he did walk them to school.
It's like he knew what was coming.
Yeah.
School.
Credit in the bank there. There we go.
So, again, always be honest. I think the school, they're happy, they're settled. The only, I don't want to use the word negative, but the only thing for me is I don't feel that the sports, the enrichment, the after school things are as maybe competitive as I would like it.
Yeah.
And having two sporty, competitive parents and children, I don't feel that they're being pushed enough. And yeah, I just don't think, I would like them to be competing more. Riley's been in the athletics, the cross country. Well, they both were in the athletics, but I don't know. I just feel like that competition and that push. I think I would, if there was another school that I could move them to, knowing that they would have more of a competitive sports side of it, and knowing that they were not gonna decrease academically and still happy and had a good friendship circle, I would move them.
Can I build on that? Which is, I think we've probably just had our awareness raised because of the rugby club. and like some of the other kids going to different schools, but obviously all the parents getting to know each other and spending time together. We've just had other parents tell us like the different schools, what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
And there's just some kids that are going to certain schools that they're really pushed from a sports perspective. And both our boys love sports.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant for them. So
and also like he's going to be going to the secondary stage of the school as of the end of August. So it's quite a crucial time. And I have found that some of the parents are moving them from Heartland to other schools to go into the secondary stage. But I feel it's probably a bit too soon to rock the boat from where we are.
I did a lot of sports at school, so I can, I played a lot of rugby and stuff like that. Jessica's not so sporty, but we've got a 4-year-old who's a ball of energy, and he's just about to get into that sporting age, where the clubs, like we looked at putting him in, he wanted to do boxing at home. I've done a bit of boxing and I said, we decided no. But
I decided
what we know about head injury and head trauma now is like, I don't think it's fair. But we were looking at something like karate or judo, jiu-jitsu, something like that, something disciplined.
Yeah.
But
he wants to run as well.
But
it's interesting to
hear. They don't start till 5. That's the point I was going to get onto. So he's going to be 5 soon. Whereas they start at 3 here in a lot of sports, which I think is fantastic. Yeah.
It's interesting to hear you guys talk about the sports and that being really important to you, because typically when people talk about school, it's academic.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the other side of school, isn't it?
Well, no, it is. But if they excel in something like a sport or something, and they show that, that's where they need to be pushed, as long as they're doing okay, like in their subjects, But whereas you got a lot of people here and they're like, I want them to go to this school. It's very prestigious and they do really well in this situation. But it's like you're sitting at your desk and you're actually it's not right for everyone, is it?
Exactly. And you're probably you're definitely more academic, definitely more academic than me, full stop. But you wanted that for the boys.
I just think I think over here there's just a base level of quality when it comes to the academic side of schools. Not that I kind of assume that's all fine, but especially the schools that we've shortlisted and gone to, they're all good schools. Yeah. Great, cool. And then because then at that point, I think it just comes down to the quality of the teacher and then the ambition of the kid. And that's something that we have to work on. So I think the academic side, fine. And then it's kind of the sports side as well. And I think that's the thing that maybe we're feeling is falling slightly short right now.
Yeah, because Riley does want to, his goal is to be a professional rugby player. And my fear now, and I know it probably sounds ridiculous because he's 11, but my biggest fear is if we don't put him into a better school for rugby, that we're doing him a disservice.
Yeah,
right.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And just like Adam said, we've been talking to people at the rugby club and things like that, whereas obviously all their kids, again, they're really into it. It is a competitive club.
And some of the best things about rugby club as well is majority of people in there have been here for 12, 15, 17 years.
Yeah.
So
Long
they
know. South Africans,
Yeah.
majorly into rugby.
But that's the people you want to know and get those recommendations
100%.
and have a look at those schools.
Like I said, that's kind of one of our tribes here. Any other questions, guys?
I've got a quick one.
Yeah.
Driving and cars.
Yep.
Because I know we're going to need a car, at least one. I know I spoke to you yesterday and you said we're short-term renting at the minute.
A 30-day rolling lease at the moment.
Sheikh Zayed Road is 14 lanes. I think someone out there's got to have the same fear as me. And you said to me about, the family member that we visited the other day, they said, have you made any budgetary allowances for tolls? And we were like, no. So he said that's 100 to 150 pounds a month that you need to budget for random toll roads. Now you said to me, speeding fines and traffic infractions 100%. Are a thing out here. I'm just nervous about driving. So
on the fines that I keep getting, I'm collecting them loyalty points right now of Dubai. In terms of those speeding tickets, bits like that, I keep getting a text message that says failure to comply with lane regulations or something, and it's a 400 dirham fine.
BMW driver can't use the indicator.
Not a BMW driver, but still can't use the indicator. Because everything is connected basically up to your license is connected up to your phone, your Emirates ID, everything is one ecosystem here. You basically can speed and you'll get a fine text you within 5 minutes.
You haven't got to wait 3 months.
Yeah,
3 weeks and hope it hasn't.
In Dubai, 20 kilometers. I'm not saying speed, but there's an allowance.
You just have. You speed and you get a fine, is what you said.
No, I'm saying if you go...
He had lane infringement.
Lane infringement, that's fairly
Anti-indicator.
So in Dubai, there's this allowance for speed up to 20 kilometers. And again, not saying speed, but in Abu Dhabi, just to let you know, 0 allowance. You go 1 kilometer above, you get a ticket. Our mate actually just drove back from Abu Dhabi last week, and on the same road, this is the God's honest truth, this is Alex, just under 5,000 dirhams worth of speeding fines on the same day.
Okay.
No, we didn't.
Why does nobody use cruise
5,000
control?
dirhams for anyone who's not got their...
It's got to be 850, 900 quid.
About £1,200.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, a bit more, isn't it? Yeah.
That's an expensive day out.
It's an expensive day out. Yeah, so...
Okay, I'm going to get a taxi for a little while.
And to be honest, it actually came up in the comments. People were saying that we said we'd just get taxis everywhere and bits like that. Depends on where you live in the school.
Yeah.
But we could navigate it if we didn't have the... Actually, we couldn't really now, could we? What's your views on this?
I definitely don't think we could navigate it and live a normal family life.
Yeah.
Would you even want to?
Yeah.
No. I like my independence too much.
Yeah.
And that was like my biggest thing that I said to Adam, like, we can't not have a car now we're living here. And especially like when he was away and stuff like that, like I want to still go out and do stuff. Like I don't want to think, oh, I need to get a taxi or
I won't go because I've got to pay for a taxi.
Yes, exactly.
That's what you
and
say.
like we've got like the annual pass for Aquaventure, the water park at Atlantis. And I was like, that's all the way at the Palm. Like if we have to get a taxi, yes, it's free to go to the water park because we've got the pass.
You spend 70 quid there and back on taxis.
Yeah, like it's then
taxis
considered.
are reasonably priced here compared to home. Very reasonably priced. We found.
But they still mount up,
I
right?
think we supplement it a little bit now with like today here as an example, there's pay parking. We just jumped in a cab. It was like 8 quid or whatever. But taxis are easy to get to. They're inexpensive, but we couldn't live solely on taxis.
No, and especially with the rugby commitments as well. Like I have to get a taxi somewhere because Reggie's got a game somewhere and Riley's somewhere else. So,
but you can do that once in a while, you know. But it's not every day.
Like when we've got tournaments at Abu Dhabi and Al Ain and stuff like that. Like you need the car.
In terms of actually like driving out here though, it is a completely different like way of being on the road. Like cool.
They pull him like right in front, and you're expected to just slow down.
100%. But I will say, within a couple of weeks, you get used to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think I'm just going to start by maybe driving in the communities.
Yeah.
Where there's no other cars.
They're on the other side of the road. They're left-hand drive cars.
Yeah.
Because we thought about maybe importing a car.
But you can't.
You can't because they will not have any
right-handed cars.
Right-hand drive cars
Interesting.
here.
Okay.
For anyone who's thinking about bringing their baby over,
yeah,
you're going to have to sell it and get a new baby. But
you get used to it.
It'll be fine.
You get used to it pretty quick.
You do get used to it.
For me anyway.
I was glad that he was like, no, you just need to do it. But I was...
Whoa, sorry. That's a good thing that I did that.
Yeah, because
you need to do it.
I was just so nervous about doing it.
Yeah, interestingly, I'm the nervous one and Jessica's like, I'll just drive.
Yeah.
I can drive. I will drive. That's it. Yeah. It's fine.
You're going to figure it out.
I feel safer now, especially when he's driving. I feel safer to be in the driver's seat instead of the passengers. And
I'm
even
a passenger princess at home when I can be.
Even the taxis, I'm like, oh my God, like, is he... And this is, I don't know if it's good or bad, but just a top tip. I never use my, what mirror is that called?
Rear view.
The rear view. I never use the rear view mirror, only the side mirrors.
Just in case.
It was like turned up and I'm like, I remember like trying to look at myself and I was like, it clearly shows that neither of us use that. So Waze and side mirrors.
On that, by the way.
And concentrate.
Just to explain what that means, we're probably used to using Google Maps. Mm-hmm. Don't use your Google Maps. It's useless out here.
Use Waze.
Just use that all the time.
Because it tells you which lanes that you need to be in. And that's obviously crucial.
Yeah, I've seen the cab drivers.
It's helpful.
Yeah, okay.
Guys,
that is a good tip.
Yeah.
Firstly, I feel like it's a positive thing because I think we could just sit and chat for ages.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, firstly, I'm aware of time. I want to wrap this up. But thank you so much, by the way, for reaching out. How did they reach out? Instagram?
Insta.
I don't look at Instagram at all. That's on you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it took me... Just a little bit of a tip. You need to put your socials in your YouTube because I had to do digging to find you on socials.
Research, yeah.
Just to let you know, I had to do digging.
There you go.
We'll stick
That's
it
on you.
100%. We'll stick it in. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out and giving us an hour and a half of your time.
Thank you so much.
It'll be awesome if in 6-12 months we can sit back down again and just go,
sure.
Cool, what have you learned?
Yeah, 100%.
Any final thoughts?
Just want to get on with it now.
Yeah.
I don't want to go home, so but I've got a car at Gatwick and it will probably cost me like 1,500 quid a day to leave it there.
And a house to sell and a house to pack
Yeah, there's
up
stuff to
and,
do.
you know.
Listen, it'll get sorted. But
It'll be fine.
thanks for having us on.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you in less than 12 months. We'll see you back here in 12 months.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.